People, if you are serious about making money online and building a business, you really need to hear what Daniel Priestley has just said. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So this is a big one. I was listening to Daniel Priestley, who's very famous entrepreneur, author of multiple great books, including some of my favorites, which is Key Person of Influence and Oversubscribed. And just recently I heard him speak about how LinkedIn have done some research, and what he said is they basically found that if you started a business brand and a personal brand on the same day on social media, by the time that the business brand has reached 1,000 followers, the personal brand will have reached 20,000 followers. That's the same brand, started at the same time, posting the same content. It basically means it is 20 times more effective. Why? It goes to the old adage that people buy from people, and they buy from people they know, they like, they trust. So I did a little bit of research of my own, because I have got, you may have heard by now, my first book coming out, being published later this year. And so I was doing some research for this book to really look into the power of personal branding, and stay to the end of this video, because once you realize how powerful it is, you're going to need to know how to do it effectively, and I'm going to tell you. So I looked into some of the most successful businesses, and I found that at the time of recording, Jeff Bezos, why can't I say his name? Bezos? Not Bezos. Who the frig's Bezos? You know, the guy from Amazon. Well, it's reported that he has a combined following on social media of 170 million followers, whereas Amazon's official account has a total of 109 million. When we look at Tesla versus its founder Elon Musk, Tesla currently has about 300 million followers, whereas Elon Musk has 655 million. And in football, Cristiano Ronaldo has a whopping 690 million followers, which is significantly more than any of the top Premier League football clubs. In actual fact, if you took all of the Premier League's football clubs' Instagram accounts and added up their followers together, they would only amass 300 million followers. So it's really important that we recognize that just having a great logo and great branding and a great business online presence is not going to be anywhere near as effective as attaching a personal brand to it. Now, you've basically got one of two ways you can really go with this. You either pay loads of money to somebody else to be the face of the brand, and they take a lot of your profits, or you yourself become the face of the brand. Now, for me, this is something I've been teaching for years, and of course applying myself for years, and I just see so many benefits. But you need to make sure you do it the right way. So here's a few tips around personal branding. The first thing is you've got to get really clear on what your messaging is. In other words, what is it you stand for? What is it you stand against? What are your values? What's your personal mission and ethos? These are the things that you need to be really clear on. And you also need to be clear on who's your ideal client, because it's that old adage, if you try and be liked by everybody, you'll speak directly to nobody. So in marketing and in personal branding, it's about really understanding basically who are your people, who are your tribe. And you have to be willing to piss off 80-90% of people to really be loved and supported by 10-20% of people. That's just the way it goes, because humans are complex. You can't expect to be liked, loved and respected and agreed with by everybody and have a successful brand. It's just not how the world works. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a good thing, but it is a thing. So you got to get really clear on who you actually are, who your ideal client is, and make sure your messaging speaks to them. The next thing you've got to do, I know it sounds obvious, but so many of you are not doing it, is be real. And I mean really real. Don't pretend to be real. Like, show up authentically as you, which means talking about the losses as much as you talk about the wins, showing the behind the scenes, the reality. If you're building a business and the reality of your business is some days you end up having a nap in the afternoon, which I do, by the way, love a good afternoon nap, and some days you're demotivated, well, you can tell us about that. You don't need to paint this polished picture of perfection, because we know that's crap anyway. Understand that people are tired of seeing people paint these perfect pictures. We know that it's false. We're sick of all the Love Islanders and the reality TV stars looking perfect. Even though they might build strong personal brands in the sense that they have a big following, vanity metrics, doesn't mean they're able to pull in a lot of revenue from their audience. Aside from saying, swipe up now to get me teeth whitening, 10% off if you use my discount code, #I'm a twat. Yeah, you can make some money that way, but When we're talking about genuinely building trust, a loyal audience, and people who really want to buy what you're about, we've got to be better than that. We don't just want to chase vanity. We want to chase change. We want to be the people who actually positively impact our audience. We educate them. We actually help them in some way. And actually, having that little bit more raw and real content can really help, because if you've got 10 brands and they all have the polished professional branding, color schemes, logos, website, and it all looks amazing. By the way, there's nothing wrong with having that stuff. You can still have it. But imagine if one out of those 10 also shows their personality, shows they've got a sense of humor, or not if you don't have one, talks about things they genuinely believe in and stand for and stand against. When you start showing all that kind of stuff, it really makes people feel like they know you. And they're seeing the journey of you building that business and the behind the scenes of you living the life as somebody building that business. When we come back to the idea that people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust, who are they going to feel more connected to? Of course, it's going to be that brand that does that stuff as well as the professional stuff. And I believe in a world of artificial intelligence and the internet and social media and all these apps that are improving and getting better and better, that authenticity, that showing the whole package, that being a real person with a personality, with views, with opinions, is going to become more and more valuable. And they're the people who will make more and more money, because anybody can look great when they're well edited and polished. Anybody can look great when they've got great branding around them. But the people who can show up live on social media, unscripted, unrehearsed, to be able to take questions and answer them in the moment, that can talk passionately with enthusiasm and knowledge about their given subject, they're the people that people are going to really trust and start to buy into and buy from. Not the people that can edit a quick 30-second reel and look like they're great when it's all scripted and polished and nicely edited. So I really want you to think about that. I believe in the year 2025 and beyond, being real, being flawed, being honest, having opinions, not just trying to please everybody, is going to be the thing that helps you win in business. Now, like I said, I have been doing a lot of research on this subject for my upcoming book, and I've got a prize for you right now if you're watching this. If you get the answer right, what I want you to do right now is flood the comment section below with all your best ideas. What do you think the title of my upcoming book, my first book that I've ever published, is going to be? I'd love to see what you think I'm going to call this book. And if you do get it right, you're going to get a pretty big prize as well. And that's all I'm saying thus far. So get guessing. You can have as many shots at it as you want. I'm going to live to regret this if lots of you get it right. Give it a go. You've nothing to lose, possibly a lot to gain, and that's all I'm saying.